Meanwhile, and we're going to talk about this tonight, the president, of course, is now facing an escalating crisis in Afghanistan as he tries to end America's longest war. Biden administration is sending a few thousand troops back into Afghanistan within 24 to 48 hours. Their mission is to secure the airport in Kabul and help get most of the American embassy and U.S. citizens, those people, help them leave the country as the Taliban takes more ground from Afghan forces who in many instances are just giving up. Here now, the latest reporting from our correspondent in Afghanistan, Kelly Kobiea.
Tonight, a shocking announcement just weeks before the U.S. completes its full withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan.
This is a temporary mission with a narrow focus.
3,000 additional personnel will be temporarily deployed to Kabul airport in the next few days to help evacuate a significant number of embassy staff. Taliban fighters are rapidly storming into key cities. No one is defending us, the man recording these scenes says. Government forces reportedly collapsing in Kandahar to the south, Herat in the west, and Ghazni, just 80 miles from the edge of the capital, Kabul. The State Department saying all Americans need to leave immediately and vowing to increase flights to evacuate Afghans who've worked with U.S. troops. The U.S. and its allies are now trying to convince Taliban leadership that no world power will recognize its government if it takes the country by force.
Doctor, let's go to General McCaffrey, actually. And General, it is also with a sense of urgency that I ask you about your life's work and your bailiwick. And I'm curious, are you surprised about the speed with which the Taliban has galloped across large portions of Afghanistan? And do you think really Kabul is threatened with falling sooner rather than later?
Well, it's shocking. On paper, the Afghan security forces, police and army could easily dominate the Taliban guerrilla force that's now captured 2/3 of Afghanistan. It's really astonishing. They're coming apart. They're liquefying. And so I think President Biden and Secretary Austin are taking very prudent emergency measures. They're deploying a package of around 8,000 troops. 3 infantry battalions initially will go into Kabul International Airport. Backup brigade of the 82nd will go into the Middle East to stand by. And other troops, Air Force and Army, will be processing Afghan refugees coming out of the country. Simultaneously, the staff of the embassy, which was over 4,000 people, will be dramatically reduced. But, you know, Brian, I'm telling you, the longest 4 miles in the world in the coming 30 days will be the distance from the U.S. Embassy Kabul to Kabul International Airport. This is a very tricky and dangerous situation.
I just want to review Joe Biden on the subject of Afghanistan in 2 comments he made. The first of these 2 was July 8th, and the second was this week. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped, as well-equipped as any army in the world. But they've got to want to fight. They have outnumbered the Taliban, but we're going to continue to keep our...
So, General, you see it there in the president, and it leads me to ask you, I mean, I made multiple trips over there and saw multiple instances of U.S. Training these commando forces. What happened to all the money, all the training, years of it, all the MRAPs, all the hardware and software that the United States government paid for over 20 years? What happened to this fighting force that you heard the president say at one time numbered 300,000?
Well, you know, Brian, I've also been in and out of that war zone multiple times over the years. There's no question that the Afghans have great courage. That includes the police and the army. Certainly these commando forces are absolutely first rate. The problem has been a balkanized country an attempt to form a federal army out of tribal society. And then on top of that, the leadership of the country, both political and military, is incompetent and corrupt. And so the notion that, Army units are surrendering their weapons and negotiating their way out of provincial capitals just indicates to me that the chain of command has now come apart. It's hard to know how this will play out. The local tribal militias may well still fight. But the Taliban have captured the northern tier, the non-Pashtun areas. So this situation looks incredibly grim. We have no options left. I think the president was politically had no choice but to pull out the forces. And now we're going to watch objectively the brutality of what happens when the Taliban regain control. It's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, indeed. Reports every day that they're executing some of the Afghan soldiers that are laying down their weapons and surrendering. Yamiche, you get the last word. If you can sum up what is going on with this Biden White House and Biden administration, kind of a welcome to the NFL moment. A pandemic we thought might be under control is not. A situation in Afghanistan we thought might be a simple withdrawal is whatever the opposite of that is. And I imagine this White House has no stomach for friendly fire from their own party with all they are trying to attempt to do right now.
That's right. The way that this can be summed up is that the president is really facing dueling crises. He's facing crises abroad in Afghanistan, as well as, of course, crises here with the Delta variant surging and igniting COVID hotspots. I also think the thing that's underlying this is there's this, you see a president in President Biden who wanted to mark these really important dates, who wanted to say on July 4th, let's celebrate the normalizing of our lives. Let's celebrate a little independence from the virus, even though we know it's still a problem. And then he also wanted to say on August 31st, let's celebrate the idea that we're finally gone from Afghanistan. And what have we seen in the last few weeks here? We've seen both of those dates really blown up. We've seen that July 4th was really just a foreshadowing of the fact that there are so many other challenges when it comes to this pandemic and so many other things that we don't know, and so many messaging issues that this White House is going to have to deal with. And on Afghanistan, there are so many people now that are looking at more young, talented U.S. troops who are going to have to go back into the Middle East just when the president wanted to turn a corner.